Death inside her Central West End apartment in March of 2016. Peters was a third-grade teacher at Horace Mann Elementary in the Tower Grove neighborhood. Detectives say Green sent a UPS package to Coulter containing a $2,500 retainer for the crime. Green was a principal at Carlene Middle School. At the time, words can't express the heartbreak the family of Jocelyn Peters had endured for 8 years as they waited for justice.
It was just unbelievable. I just kept telling my aunt, I just was like, just pinch me so I can wake up. You know, it was just like a nightmare. It's just something that I wouldn't want any parent to go through.
Dr. Jason, you know, Professor Joe, I'm sure in death investigations you've done, you've heard about some motives. Have you ever heard of anything like this?
Yes, most certainly. I've worked a couple of cases similar to this. And as far as the dollar amount goes, you're right. I mean, I don't know that you could say necessarily it's a sliding scale, but it's dependent upon what the needs are of the person and their willingness to participate in it. There's going to be some very interesting forensics in this case.
All right, what's up with y'all? So look, man, I'm back again with another video, and before I jump into the video, I definitely have to start this off the right way by telling my supporters out there that's rocking with me day to day on a consistent basis that I do appreciate y'all, and I hope that everything is going the way that you want it to go in your life, and I'm wishing y'all nothing but the best in every aspect of your life. I hope that you're okay mentally, spiritually, and physically. And yeah, I'm sending y'all nothing but peace, blessings, and prosperous energy y'all way. And when I say this, I'm only talking to my supporters, those who reciprocate the same energy back to me, and to those who say the same thing to me back in return. And if you just became a supporter right now in this very video, I'm talking to you as well. But other than that, let's go ahead and get into the situation because we got a lot to talk about. So look, basically, long story short, well, I'm tripping, I got to do this also. I want to say RIP to this beautiful young lady by the name of Jocelyn Peters. And yeah, this situation took place in 2016, and she just now getting her justice. I still don't feel like it's enough justice, but you know, a little bit is better than none. But I do want to send my condolences out to her entire family, and I want to send my condolences out to anybody out there that had a genuine love for her, especially her mother. You know, just everybody that was just genuinely right there with her day to day on a consistent basis as well. But let's go ahead and talk about this whole situation. So look, in 2016, she ended up getting pregnant by this guy by the name of Cornelius Green. He was a principal at the school that she was teaching at. She was a third-grade teacher, and she ended up getting pregnant by this weird-ass fucker. Now listen, with her getting pregnant, he got mad and upset because she didn't want to get rid of the baby. He wanted her to abort, and she wasn't trying to do that. Now, I can definitely understand that because a lot of people have their own beliefs, and you know how the saying goes, your body, your choice, all of those different sayings that goes into, you know, people's birthrights and things like that, you know. But yeah, so basically, long story short, the dude by the name of Cornelius Green, his weird ass got to tripping so hard to the point where he paid his own homeboy, his own friend, $2,500 to go take her life. And this crazy fucker went to go do it. Now look, $2,500 is somewhat a lot of money, just depending on, you know, what you value and how things are going on in your life and how you see certain things. But I don't feel like $2,500 is enough to take a life. I don't feel like no dollar amount is enough to take a life. It's just crazy to me that people are out here doing certain things and can't even, you know, accept the consequences of their actions. If you know that you're out here sleeping with different women or men, because women are cheating as well, if you're out doing certain things and you get pregnant or you get somebody else pregnant, you got to deal with those consequences. Now he was so upset about this whole situation because he was a married man. He was stepping out on his wife. So you out here passing community D around to these women and can't even accept the consequences of your actions. It's crazy to me, you know. You got to deal with whatever you're putting yourself through. You knew that you was about to ejaculate or whatever the case may be. Get up out of there. But you know, people weird as hell. They crazy as hell, and they can't, you know, be a man about certain situations and be a woman about certain situations. Now look, I know a lot of people don't sympathize with people who or messing with married men or married women, but you got to understand that sometimes people are led in the wrong way about certain things. You can be lied to about so many different things dealing with people who are in relationships that they are basically trying to get out of or saying that they're trying to get out of. You know, you got to be careful with who you're dealing with and actually know a person's character to actually go ahead and follow through with certain situations, because you can be out here dealing with somebody who ain't nowhere near done with the person that they're dealing with. You feel me? But you know, I'm not here to victim shame her. I don't do that type of stuff over here on my channel. Victims are victims, and I feel like that in some cases, you know, a lot of the times people are lied to and played with, and they end up losing their life due to someone else's negligence, you know. But hey, we're finna get into the video. I gave y'all a brief synopsis on the whole situation, but like I said before, RIP to her. I want to send my condolences out to the family, and I hope that this fool get the maximum ass whooping in jail. He already got 2 life sentences for taking her life and the innocent child's life, you know. But I left a lot of details out. We finna get into the video right now. Let me know your thoughts and opinions, and we're gonna talk about all of this in the comment section. Let's go.
Lunch tonight in the pregnant middle school teacher. The man accused of being hired to kill her has decided to take his case to trial. Thanks for joining us. I'm Mike Bush.
And I'm Ann Allred. 5 on your side's Christine Byers was the only TV reporter in the courtroom today as the alleged hitman decided whether or not to take a deal from the government.
Jocelyn Peters was shot to death in her apartment in March of 2016. She was 27 weeks pregnant with Cornelius Green's baby at the time. He was the principal at Carr Lane Middle School, where she was a teacher, and he was married. Here's Jocelyn's mother, Lacey Peters, in 2016.
I was very shocked. I thought he was a real nice young man.
Green pleaded guilty Wednesday during what's known as a Fry hearing. It's the last time federal prosecutors offer a deal before a trial. Veteran criminal defense attorney Joel Schwartz explains.
There's a lot of times where individuals charged with crimes frequently think, okay, that may be their first offer. It's certainly going to get better. And when they realize at the last minute that it may not be getting better, a lot of times you'll see them jump in or dump in and take that offer.
In taking the offer to spend the rest of his life in prison, Green admitted he hired his childhood friend Philip Cutler to kill Peters and paid him with $2,500 he stole from his middle school. Cutler appeared in court Thursday for his Fry hearing. He opted for trial instead.
The reason a court does a Fry hearing is the defense attorney is required to convey any recommendation in exchange for a plea to his client. So in case the defendant is in fact convicted, he can't come back and say, my attorney was ineffective in that he never conveyed this offer.
Christine Byers, 5 on your side.
Cutler's federal trial is expected to begin March 11th. Meanwhile, his state murder charges, which include the possibility of the penalty, are still pending.
See, it's so crazy to me that he got all of these rights and can negotiate and do all this other type of stuff, and he's out here funding hits with school money. You out here doing this type of stuff with the school's money. He's taking from the middle schoolers and, you know, different things like that. That is so weird to me and crazy to me. And I just hate how the justice system has to be, but I can understand it at the same time because sometimes people can be falsely convicted. You don't want to take somebody innocent out, so they got to go through the whole, you know, thing. But as soon as he admitted to it, I feel like that they should have tossed everything out the door, took his ass outside, and did what they had to do with him. And y'all know what I'm talking about, but let's get back into the video.
A St. Louis public school principal will spend the rest of his life in prison after pleading guilty for his role in a hire plot. The crime was financed with money he stole from students. 5 on your side's Holman Kurwicki was in the courtroom today as a federal judge sentenced him, and he's live in the newsroom. Hold it.
Oh, and today's guilty plea came 8 years after Jocelyn Peters, an elementary school teacher, was murdered inside of her Central West End home because prosecutors say she refused to have an abortion. The 2 men responsible will now spend the rest of their lives in prison, but her family told me that's not enough.
As the family of Jocelyn Peters walked into federal court Tuesday morning, they were all adorned with a yellow flower.
Yellow was Jocelyn's favorite color.
Known for her vibrant personality, Peters taught 2nd and 3rd grade at Mann Elementary.
He would always run in my office every morning and scare me and burst in and tell me about the magic that was going to happen and how I had to come upstairs and see what the magic was.
According to prosecutors, former Carr Lane principal Cornelius Green hired a hitman Peters and their unborn child inside her Central West End apartment in 2016.
This crime was senseless.
I've been here over 24 years, and this is the single most heartbreaking case I've ever had.
As Peters' family read victim impact statements to the court, even the judge presiding over the case teared up. But Green sat expressionless in his seat.
It just shows his character. He tried to, hold his head down, but he didn't really have any remorse.
Green will now spend the rest of his life in federal prison as part of a plea agreement that will drop state charges, which carry the possibility of the...
He don't have no remorse because he did what he wanted to do, and some people come to their, like realization after they do certain things and they go ahead and be okay with it. I feel like that he did what he wanted to do. I don't know why he did this weird ass shit as far as taking her life when he could have just easily not did what he did in the first place. But hey, people out here being weird as hell, and I definitely agree with the parents and the family and things like that, that a lot of stuff that they think that they're doing to give people justice really don't be enough. But like I said, a little bit is better than nothing. You know, let's get back into it. But with him confessing, his ass should have been out of here immediately. No more talking, no negotiations, none of that. Let's get back into it though.
I'm not able to go visit Jocelyn. I'm not able to hug my granddaughter. You know, so no, life is no, it's not enough.
There will never be anything that will bring her back, and I think that's the hard part. I hope that he never sees the light of day for what he's done.
Green's attorneys requested that he be transferred to prison in Greenville, Illinois, but Judge White denied that request, stating that he preferred the Department of Prisons to decide where Green will be incarcerated.
Make a request and you're taking
prosecutors say it was a heinous crime that rocked the St. Louis community 8 years ago. Today, a former St. Louis principal was sentenced for hiring a man to kill his pregnant girlfriend, who was a St. Louis City teacher. Fox News' Kelly Hoskins has more on the fate of Cornelius Green.
The sentencing was held here at the Thomas Eagleton Federal Courthouse in downtown St. Louis. Today, former middle school principal Cornelius Green was sentenced to 2 consecutive life sentences. His girlfriend and unborn child.
Last thing that I said to my daughter, she said, "I love you," and I said, "I love you too." And that was the last time I physically saw my daughter.
Words can't express the heartbreak the family of Jocelyn Peters had endured for 8 years as they waited for justice.
It was just unbelievable. I just kept telling my aunt, I just was like, just pinch me so I can wake up. You know, it was just like a nightmare. It's just something that I wouldn't want any parent to go through.
Judge Ronnie White sentenced 42-year-old Cornelius Green for paying his friend Peters, who was his 30-year-old girlfriend. She was 7 months pregnant in 2016, and he didn't want the baby. In February, Green pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit for hire and acting upon murder for hire.
It's just a heartbreaking case where 2 defendants plotted to murder a beautiful pregnant school teacher for senseless reasons.
In March, 46-year-old Philip Coulter was convicted for Peters on the same charges. Weeks ago, he was also sentenced to 2 consecutive life sentences. Police say Peters was shot to death inside her Central West End apartment in March of 2016. Peters was a 3rd grade teacher at Horace Mann Elementary in the Tower Grove neighborhood. Detectives say Green sent a UPS package to Coulter containing a $2,500 retainer for the crime. Green was a principal at Carlene Middle School at the time and used cash stolen from the school to pay for the murder. Peters' family miss her.
Jocelyn was a bright light. She loved education. She loved teaching. She loved children. She was just a genuine, loving individual.
Reporting in downtown St. Louis, Kelly Hoskins, Fox News.
This is really sad. As a former St. Louis principal pleads guilty to hiring someone to kill his pregnant mistress. In 2022, Cornelius Green was indicted for the 2016 of Jocelyn Peters, who prosecutors say was carrying his child. Jaw-dropping details don't stop there. This is what the indictment revealed. Green was married, but he had multiple relationships with multiple women. Jocelyn Peters and Cornelius Green were engaged at one point, and in 2015 she became pregnant with his child. Now the indictment goes on to say that Green devised a plan to murder Peters and their unborn child, that he stole cash from the middle school, from Carlene Middle School. Then in March of 2016, listen to this, he sent $2,500 to a guy named Philip Cutler using the school's address. Cutler accepted that money for the hit. Cutler is going to be standing trial for his role in the murders, his alleged role in the murder, I should say, hasn't been convicted yet. He's just accused at this point. Now, so we call for justice for Jocelyn Peters and her unborn baby. We're also asking the question about that money amount. Who has somebody for $2,500 and who accepts such a low amount? Let's talk about this. Let's bring back in our power panel. Dr. Jason Piccolo, let me start with you. Would you kick things off, please?
Sure. $2,500 may not seem like a lot to us, but out there are people willing to do anything for even less amount of money. $500, $200, $1,000. So yes, I mean, it seems like a trivial amount to, you know, a certain amount of people when it comes to and murder, assassination, but It's just there are so many people out there willing to do an evil act for even less than that.
Facts, because I did a video about a person who actually took someone's life over like $50, I think, if I'm not mistaken. It's so long ago when I did it, but yes, it was less than $300 or $400. It was like $50, I think, $50 to $100, one of the two. But yeah, people are willing to do anything for a little piece of money, especially if you find like a real junkie type of person. Like, you can really get whatever you want out of them. I just hate the fact that people are doing these type of things to do these type of things. You feel what I'm saying? Like, what the hell are you even trying to, like, you could have used that money for anything. You know what I'm saying? For your divorce from your wife. You feel me? You could have used it for that if you really wanted to be away from her, but obviously you didn't. And if that was the case, if you don't want to lose your wife, why would you be out here messing with other people? That don't make no sense to me. You know, people be out here making these crazy ass decisions, not even realizing that they can get caught. It's a possibility that you can get caught doing what you're doing. So why even put yourself in a predicament if you're not ready for the consequences of your actions? You know, that's just my personal opinion. But I do want to say that, you know, it's a sad and unfortunate situation if she was lied to, if she was led on, if he been telling her all type of bullshit and wasn't really telling the truth. Let's get back into it though. It's almost over.
This is such an important discussion to have, because when you think about the value of a human life, it's priceless, right? And here we've got two lives. We've got that young woman's life, the baby's life, you know, and then you hear $2,500, what? But you've seen it, Dr. Jason. You know, Professor Joe, I'm sure in death investigations you've done, you've heard about some motives. Have you ever heard of anything like this?
Yes, most certainly. I've worked a couple of cases similar to this. And as far as the dollar amount goes, you're right. I mean, it's I don't know that you could say necessarily it's a sliding scale, but it's dependent upon what the needs are of the person and their willingness to participate in it. There's going to be some very interesting forensics in this case. I think that the perpetrator in this case, actually of all things, is alleged to have used a potato as a suppressor of sound. I'm fascinated by that element. It's a single gunshot wound to the head, so that means that he had to have pretty close proximity to her. It'd be fascinating to think about what evidence they have found at the scene, collected, and is there a tieback, a physical tieback to perhaps some type of weapon platform this individual possessed? What happened at the scene that led them to believe that this unusual methodology was applied? That'll be fascinating to listen to.
That fucker was in there with a potato. You know how slow you gotta be? Slow, weird fucker in there doing all this crazy stuff. Over $2,500 that you could have easily went out here and did anything to go get. Here, go be a real man and make this money, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's a point in time in your life where you gotta realize I'm being a damn dummy. I am stupid. I am slow. This is stupid for me to even be considering right now. You know what I'm saying? But people don't even think like that, bro. That fast money ain't always good money. We know that. But some people obviously don't, because what the hell? And then you going to this extent is crazy. Let's get back into it though.
And how did he get out to believe that this unusual methodology was applied? That'll be fascinating to listen to. And how did he get access to her? I think also is a real big dynamic in this. So this is going to play out. This is going to be one you're probably going to want to sit and watch on Before TV.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for that, Professor. So thinking about Philip Cutler, the alleged hitman in his trial going forward, Caleb Mason, back to that $2,500. Do you use that some way in the defense if you're defending this guy and say, oh my gosh, who accepts that to do a hit?
Oh, absolutely. If the case ended up not being provable based solely on the forensics, you could attack motive as the defense and, you know, and make the argument that because the payment was so low, the defendant did not, you know, make a deal or conspire to commit murder, that the $2,500 was likely for something else. I don't know, you know, if the forensics are as clear as they may be, then we may not even get into motive. Right? As you know, it's an old axiom. You don't have to prove motive. Juries often wonder what the motive is. And so if you have evidence of motive, you definitely want to get into it. But there are many contexts in which part of the defense theory is that the defendant's payment, even if that can be documented, is too low to be essentially what you would argue is the market price for the crime. We do see that, for example, in drug smuggling, where people are paid very small amounts and then end up with a very large load of concealed drugs in the car. We see this at the the U.S.-Mexico border in crossing cases with concealed apartments. And the defendants often argue that, look, this load was so large and the amount of money that I was given was so small. I might not have known, or I did not know would be the argument, what I was carrying. Something like that could be done here. But I mean, based on what's alleged, it doesn't look like the prosecution is going to need much in the way of motive evidence to prove that this defendant committed the act. And then the jury, will be left to ponder what sort of a world is it where somebody would commit such an act for such a low price.
Right. Isn't that the truth? Caleb Mason, great points to end the discussion on. Thank you.
That's the end of that video, man. And like I said before, it's a crazy and unfortunate situation. I hate that happened to her. I really do wish that she got a chance to be alive and have a child and do whatever she wanted to do with her life. But, people out here thinking that they God these days and they're willing and ready to do whatever to go ahead and get what they want out of any situation. And it's just so crazy to me. Now somebody's out of a whole goddamn daughter, mother, hell, the grandchild. There's so many different things that someone lost due to the fact that this dude being a weirdo. And if she knew about it, it's understandable for people to be mad and things like that. I just hate that they went to this extreme, But hey, I want to know your thoughts and opinions on this whole situation. If you made it to the end of this video, I definitely do appreciate y'all. And yeah, man, I'll holler at y'all later on another video. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on this and we're going to talk about it. But I'll holler at y'all later. All right.